Good evening. I'd like to call to order the July 12th, 2021 special meeting of the American School District Board of Directors. Please rise for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The public is hereby advised of the audio and video recording and live streaming of this meeting for the purposes of rebroadcast. We need to do a roll call for attendance. We have all board members present except for Ms. Purdue. Recognition of guests and scheduled speakers, Dr. Zerbe.
Thank you, Madam President. This evening, we have two items on the agenda for the board's consideration. This evening, Mr. Jones, our Director of Facilities, will present those two items. Mr. Jones.
Thank you. Good evening. First, I'd like to introduce our people here from representing Batavia. We have Angie Lovson here with us tonight. Jack Ayers, he's our project manager, and also Shelby Bonner, he's also a project manager for that. So we have two items before you this evening. One is COR 01, sealing waterproofing the foundation wall along the back of the high school here. This is for change order to increase $12,500 to Anthony Bill for the canopy impacts project. The second item is for soil exchange phase 2, approval change order for DM number 5 as an increase of $26,000 with Anthony Bill contractor for also the high school canopy impacts project.
These change orders were posted to the agenda and sent to the board in advance of this meeting. I think the best way for us to proceed forward, unless some seat decides otherwise, is are there any questions at this moment in time on any of these two change orders for Mr. Jones or the Batavia team? Mr. Navarrete?
Yeah, thanks. So, Bob, thanks for taking me out there Thursday. I was back there, saw the site. Do you have photos or like a diagram you could share?
I have a drawing with.
Yeah, I think that would be good. Maybe we just pass it through the table so everybody can at least see where we're talking about along the back of the building. And I guess while you're doing that from the Batavia team, one of the questions that always comes up with these things is what could have been anticipated ahead of time? Quite honestly, I don't really change the cost very much because you have to do it regardless. But can you talk about kind of the genesis of these change orders and what the impacts are?
Sure.
Yeah, please. Thanks.
All right, well, hello, folks. I'm Jack Ayers from Batavia. That something like that is unanticipated because it's covered with soil at the time. Not until you began excavation do you find the bare walls with no waterproofing or arching associated with them. So it starts to diminish after a while. So unless we uncover it, it's properly good. So it maintains, keeps the water out of it. Basically.
Can you talk about the, sorry, can you talk about the, practice here, right? Can raise hands. Can you talk about the soil part of it?
The soil exchange portion is the in situ materials or existing materials that are there. It was very bony with rock. It was very heavy clay material. That's what it was. Doesn't drain well and it doesn't compact well. So when we tried to put it back in, we weren't getting the compaction rates, and it would fall eventually, and that's what would happen with the slabs. So that's why we need the additional support with the recycled concrete.
So here's a question. This building was built in what, 61, I think. Is that typical at the time? I mean, I know, like even nowadays, right? If you go and your home buildings, right? We look at the slab foundation, if there's any kind of below grade areas, right? There's some kind of putting down stone at the bottom or trying to improve drainage. Is this typical of the time to just put back whatever fill was there, right, back up against the building like this?
If it's good, it is typical to put it back. But if it's unsuitable material, it's better to put the good material back. So it would, give more of a long-standing time for the building. You don't want to put the garbage back.
Yeah, maybe it's this. All right, I'll pass on some of this, thank you.
Well,
For the people that don't have the short description, I'm talking specifically now for the soil exchange, the first one I'm talking about. The seal and water moving. Can we just tell the story, like what happened, how we find it, what the existing conditions? I know you said it was unsealable, so we had to dig to find it, and then give a story of what's going on here.
well, I
am
found
sure-
it, I'm sorry, were you finished?
No, yes, I apologize.
We found it when we began the excavation of the existing handicap ramp. And you can see the old cinder block wall that was underneath, which is your foundation wall. And it wasn't in good condition, so you need to waterproof it, number one, and parge it, number two, so it maintains good structural value to it. That's the appropriate thing to do.
Given the age of the current building, is this unusual to see the deterioration of a foundational wall?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Two quick questions. All the material that's to the right of the building right now, that, I assume that's part of the process, or we haven't even started yet?
The pile that's out there,
Yes.
that's the unsuitable material.
Okay, that's what I figured, and so that will be removed.
Yes.
And I'm not being flippant, I teach seventh grade, so I'm really not, I'm thinking I'm being flippant, but is it, when you say $26,000, we're not talking just $26,000 for soil?
No, you're talking structural fill
Okay,
in
But it-
exchange for the unsuitable soil.
okay, gotcha. So, and I was just gonna say, and I would assume that also entails the labor involved. with
That's
that.
correct.
Okay,
And prevailing wages.
gotcha, thank you.
Other questions? Other questions? Ms. Sherman?
Yeah, just when you expose that foundational wall and it seems to lack waterproofing, is there any evidence that any water has infiltrated areas, or like there's further concern?
No, there wasn't any evidence of it that we saw, but it's a preventive measure, so it doesn't happen in the
It was a recommendation from the Navy and the engineers as a result of, hey, we have it opened up right now, if you're gonna ever do it, now's the time to do it, correct? I mean, that's,
future.
it's a good preventive maintenance recommendation. Mr. Navarette?
Yeah, my last question was gonna be along those lines too. So I know we're talking about for property for master plan, in July, and we're looking at the next couple of years out. Is this something that we should be concerned about over the rest of the building? And we just did a whole, it was a huge project, but we did do some foundation repairs around the cafeteria back in 2018 or 2019. There was some like pointing work and whatnot that was done and stuff, but it was higher up the building. Is it something then that we should be looking at around the perimeter of the building in the future?
If you're gonna disturb it, yes.
Okay,
Only if you're gonna disturb it. If you don't disturb it, it should be fine.
that's right. All right. Thanks, sir.
Other questions?
Not about the money, but I just realized, we're a little bit behind, just like many, like, this is a little bit behind due to staffing and, right, correct? This project or no?
No.
It isn't, okay, I can't keep them all straight. So this is not behind?
No, what we've been able to do is keep them on track.
Other questions from members of the board on the two matters? Ms. Alvarez?
Thank you. So I can't get the attachment to open on the agenda, so, this change order, the second one, CR number 5, does that include the removal of the unsuitable material as well?
Yes,
So
it's
it's
already removed.
But I mean, like, you've found a place to dump it, like,
Yeah,
this
I'm gonna
26
export it, that includes the export.
okay, just want to make sure we're covering the whole package here, so, thank you.
Are there any other questions from members of the board? Okay. Thank you, Jen. That ends, I guess, the scheduled speakers for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Zerby. So now the board will take comments on board action items. This is an opportunity for residents to comment on matters that are outlined on the agenda for vote this evening. Please keep your comments to 4 minutes or less. Mr. Andrews?
Good evening and welcome back to interesting meetings. John Andrews, Law Providence. The board has already asked some excellent questions about the soil exchange. In the fine print of the PDF Stratton map, I believe it's a number of 275 cubic yards of new material, is that correct? 275 cubic yards. It's almost like someone moved the decimal point. 254. So, what's the length of the deck and the width of that?
Mr. Andrews, I think you could just keep going. I don't want to get into a back and forth. Thank you.
Well, to summarize, it just seems to me that there's a ton of material being replaced. I mean, maybe we need 100 pounds of material. And this foundation wall, there's no evidence that there's been leakage. And it's unclear to me whether there's a basement or a fill on the other side of the wall. So I don't think the project has been well explained. It may be necessary, but it hasn't been well explained.
Thank you, Mr. Andrews. Anyone else?
Good evening, Jessica Wrangler, York Providence County. Were there competing bids obtained for the two change orders being submitted for approval tonight for the total amounting to $38,720? In looking ahead to the property committee agenda, there are 4 additional change orders for an additional $36,000 in change. So that's a total of $75,000 in change orders for this project. What is the urgency for these 2 specific change orders needing a special meeting tonight to approve instead of waiting for 2 weeks until the next regular meeting, especially if the project is under? Up for approval is CO number 5, that is labeled phase 2. And during the upcoming committee meeting, we have COR number 4, that one's labeled phase 1. They're both related to soil. So is this 2 phases, and why are we looking at phase 2 first? Or are we separating this, putting this together and doing one before the other? Or are they both needed? Or are we looking at the more expensive one, which is the $26,000 soil? Shouldn't we have tested our soil and evaluated it prior to putting together budget so that we knew the quality of the soil? With regards to last week's committee meetings, which were canceled, but this week's are happening, we're just waiting on when will we talk about the health and safety plan. We're curious as to why education committee was canceled, the property committee is taking place. And we would like to know when we can expect to see that health and safety plan, especially since we're talking about
Excuse me,
building
this needs to be just on agenda items for this evening.
unplanned building expenditures is a priority over the kids' health and safety. That's my point, that's my question, thank you.
Anyone else? May I have a motion to approve change order ZMCO number 1 as an increase of $12,540 for the Anthony contractors for the high school canopy project as attached? Mr. Navarette, is there a second? Ms. Reese? Any further comments?
Yeah, just, excuse me, just to answer some of the questions about the scope, Mr. Andrews, this project that was approved stretches along the great majority of the high school building over here. That's the large amount of material that we're talking about. Bob, can you answer the question on competing bids?
Well, right now, the competing is contractor working in that area, so we work with the contractor who is doing the work, as well as the architect confirming the need for fill and quality and fill, and actually work with the contractor to get a price so we can receive the result.
So you went back to the contractor and negotiated the price for this? Thank you. A note on, Dr. Zerbe, can you comment on our process for change orders, the $10,000 change order limit that we established that comes back to the board, and how that rolls into what's being covered tonight versus the property being.
Yes, so anything that is over $10,000 and greater, we need board approval. These are obviously two items that over that threshold, but more importantly, these are two items that need to be acted on in order to do the scope of work on time. So if we were delayed any further than this evening, we would now shut the project down starting tomorrow.
Thank you, that was the next comment I was going to make, so I don't have anything else.
Anything else from other members of the board? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, so the motion carries 8-0. And now I'll take a motion to approve change order DMCO number 5 as an increase of $26,182 with the individual contractors. Mr. McGinnis, and second, Mr. Navarette. Any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? The motion carries 8-0. And at this time, we'll open up for courtesy of the floor. This is an opportunity for residents to comment on matters that are or may be before the board at a later date. We ask that you keep your comments to 4 minutes or less, and always introduce yourself with your name and municipality. All right. And that does it for courtesy of the floor. This time, I will take a motion to adjourn. Mr. McGinnis, and second, Ms. Reese, meeting adjourned.
Thank you. We are moving right into the Property and Transportation Committee